Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching NDTV. It was polling day today, both in Jharkhand and Maharashtra, and a lot is at stake for both political fronts. We'll take you through the highlights. In fact, exit poll numbers have started coming in. I'm Vasudha Venugopal.
That's right, and I'm Gargi Rawat. In the next 1 hour, we'll take you through the major election predictions, the exit polls, but with not a pinch of salt, I'd say a bucket of salt, given what the track record of late has been of exit polls, much maligned. And we'll get you all the top analysts as well in studio to talk about the numbers as we await the 23rd, when finally all will be revealed and the numbers will be counted, when we'll know what was on the mind of the voters.
Well, Maharashtra has voted. In fact, the state has recorded around 58% voter turnout, with Mumbai at 49% voter turnout, registering a slightly improved voter participation. Now, the battle in Maharashtra, where India's financial capital, Mumbai, is located, is particularly critical for the political future of the state. In the last 5 years, the state has seen 3 chief ministers and splits in 2 major opposition parties, multiple legal and political wars for symbols, defections, and changing political formations.
It is the ruling Mahayuti, comprising of Devendra Fadnavis-led BJP, the Eknath Shinde-led Shiv Sena, and the Ajit Pawar-led Nationalist Congress Party NCP, versus the opposition Mahavikas Aghadi, that's MVA alliances Congress, Uddhav Thackeray-led Shiv Sena, and Sharad Pawar-led NCP. Remember, in the Lok Sabha elections, the MVA had emerged ahead of the Mahayuti, something they'll be hoping to repeat, Vasudha, but we'll just get you those highlights from the exit polls. 36 seats in Mumbai have been particularly important because this is where the Sena versus Sena battle will play out.
Well, of course, the state in the last 5 years has seen shifting alliances, Gargi, and ideological clashes. But the campaign of the 6 parties in the fray this time was clearly centered around caste equations, welfare promises, and many emotional appeals. There were intense deliberations over seat sharing, allegations of running divisive campaigns, even accusations of using bitcoins, distributing cash for votes that have been leveled by parties against each other.
I think this is the first election where bitcoins have,
yes,
featured in this
Crypto,
way. But
yeah.
Exactly, and we'll get you more details on that. But yes, very different regions, very different issues, lots of mini elections is how it was being described. 5 vast and diverse regions: Vidarbha and Marathwada, known for its soybean and cotton problems; Western Maharashtra for its cooperatives; North for its onion prices; the Konkan region, with Mumbai significantly accounting for jobs and infrastructure. Voting in Maharashtra has often been varied, which is why the post-poll play has been important as well.
Talking about the other important states, a pitched electoral battle was also witnessed in Jharkhand, where the JMM-led alliance took on the BJP in the second phase of polling today. By-polls were also held in 15 assembly seats across Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Kerala and Uttarakhand today. In Jharkhand, seats voting in the second phase concentrated in the Santhal Parganas and North Chota Nagpur regions. These are also regions, Gargi, which were completely critical for the formation of Jharkhand in 2000.
And the campaign this time around was centered around tribal identity. We saw, top leaders from the Prime Minister, Home Minister, all leaders aggressively pushing this position regarding infiltrators from Bangladesh, illegal infiltrators who were responsible for decline in tribal numbers, also taking away land.
Absolutely. So will these elections bring political stability to the state of Maharashtra? Caste welfare, shifting loyalties, or pursuit of power? What actually drove the voters this time in the state and in Jharkhand? How will the meta-narratives of welfare and tribal identity play out? Many questions there, and we do have experts in the studio with us to answer them. We have Neerja Chaudhary, senior author, senior journalist, and also Aditi Fadnis, columnist and senior author, senior journalist, joining us. Thank you both of you for joining us on this broadcast. Aditi ma'am, every time I think of Maharashtra, I think of your travels. I know this time you didn't travel there. So tell us, what are your big takeaways from the campaign? The exit polls are already showing.
Right, and we'll get those numbers up already. If we just broadly take you through it, as you can see the numbers there, most exit polls are giving the NDA the edge or the majority, and in both states, in fact, from the looks of it. If we will go to each one of them one by one, but yes, go ahead.
So what are the corrective measures that the BJP took specifically after the 2024 elections? Because that was a shocker for them. 9 on 28 seats. That was completely unthinkable for the BJP. But clearly there are some corrective measures that the BJP has taken, which clearly brought them back in the game, isn't it?
So the biggest, I think, is the Ladki Bahina scheme. Ladki Bahin scheme, even when the well before the election was declared and during the campaign, during the negotiations for seats, this was something that the Congress and the other parties felt would throw a spanner in the works. Before that, the narrative of betrayal, of family, of emotion, that was kind of ruling. After that, after this scheme, the government, the Maharashtra government gave a full 4 months installment of the allowance that it was going to promise. So 8,000 rupees for every household if you are in a rural area and eligible for the scheme is pretty good. It's quite a lot of money.
They made sure it got to everybody's accounts, Neerja, as you pointed out. But let's just take our viewers through the exit polls as they're coming in with all the health warnings, Vasudha, as we've seen of late of, exit polls getting it wrong. We just saw that in Haryana. But if we talk about the exit polls, Matriz has given out the NDA 42 to 47 seats in Jharkhand, and the India bloc, they've given 25 to 30.
And People's Pulse has given NDA 44 to 53 in Jharkhand, and India bloc 25 and to 37 to the India bloc. And of course, when you talk about Maharashtra, People's Pulse has given Mahayuti 175 to 195. The range is really huge here. And of course, Mahavikas Aghadi, People's Pulse has given them 85 to 112. Matriz has given Mahayuti 150 to 170, and MVA around 110 to 130.
Now, PMark has really played it safe, 137 to 157 for Mahayuti, and 126 to 146 for MVA. And finally, People's Pulse for Maharashtra, given the Mahayuti 175 to 195 and 85 to 112 for the MVA. And if we average this out, in Maharashtra, the MVA is getting a maximum of 136, minimum of 122, while Mahayuti is getting a maximum of 185 and a minimum of 135, averaging at 157. So those are the numbers. We just got the times now. JVC exit poll also coming in. But before that, yes, Neerja ma'am, if you could also, talk about what you feel were the big highlights. I think all of you analysts have been talking about how there have been no very overarching themes in this election. Yes, Ladki Behna has been there that everyone has spoken about, but lots of almost like mini elections, like local elections taking place for various, for all the seats.
This time it was a very fractured politics. Number two, it was hyper local election, right to the ground level. And so many candidates, so many parties, that is very difficult for anybody to come to a conclusion. Now, I agree with Aditi that if there was, on this side was sympathy for Sharad Pawar and Uddhav Thackeray because their parties had been split, they had been betrayed. Number two, there was the Maratha factor. And Maratha, Muslim, Dalit has been a combination which has been a winning combination since YB Chavan's time. For the Congress, then the NCP, and then the MVA in the recent election. Now, and the Maratha activist, Jharkhand Patil, more or less gave out a signal when he withdrew his candidates that he wanted Marathas to vote for MVA. Now, certainly this would make a difference in Marathwada and Western Maharashtra. But the force that could counter this, and I think if these results are right, and has countered it, are women. You saw women, I agree with you, Aditi. I did not meet a single woman, and this is very random, in the village, at political rallies, in Bombay, randomly talking Shivaji Park here, in Marathwada village near Aurangabad. Not one said, I have not received money. Okay. I have not received. They had all received money, and they received 7,500 for 5 months. And the Anganwadi setup, the ICDS setup, people said that they had worked very hard, they bent over backwards, to get the forms filled. And they, in fact, the Anganwadi workers and the supervisors said, the women now feel closer to us because we have enabled this to happen. Okay. They think we've been instrumental. So that is one good thing that's happened. Of course, a lot of them wondered whether it would continue after the elections, whether there'd be the money.
That's what also heard, yes.
But the officialdom in Mumbai, they also talked about, they said, in the last weeks we have worked so hard. One of them said it has been a traumatic experience. but it showed that they can deliver. Our system is capable of delivering when they set their minds to it.
Right.
Well, there obviously a lot of pressure on the top to ensure it happens before.
And women said, our brother Eknath Shinde has made this possible. He will do more for us. They did not talk about BJP, Mahayuti, Sharad Pawar's, Ajit Pawar's party at all.
This is a question that we should ask Charu Pragya. Charu Pragya,
For that, Vasudha, if you just see one more Access My India poll has come in for Jharkhand, it's gone the other way, whereas everyone else is predicting for the NDA higher numbers. This is predicting 25, and for the India bloc, it's predicting 53 for Jharkhand.
That is some change. Charu from the BJP, Charu Pragya from the BJP joins us. We also have Seema Malik from the NCP led by Sharad Pawar faction joining us. We have author Badri Narayan also with us. Charu, you have spent a lot of time in Mumbai as a child. Your father was there. Tell us, you understand Mumbai, but here a lot of us actually feel that this election was a lot about Eknath Shinde, the promise of Ladki Bahin Yojana. Where does the BJP stand in this, and how are you looking at gaining from this? Because last two elections, it was the BJP with, being the single largest party, 105 and 122 in 2014.
Yeah. Good evening, and thank you so much for having me on your show. It was heartwarming listening to Neerja ji speak right now, because this is information coming straight from the ground onto everybody's television screens, and honestly, this is what my party set out to do. And if we're able to achieve this, if we can have a neutral senior journalist such as Neerja ji endorse it, I couldn't be happier. The fact is that Bharatiya Janata Party and our alliance partners have always done their utmost best to make sure the lives of people improve every single day. And how do we do that? By providing the most basic things. Most basic things: housing, water, electricity, gas connections, health insurance, making sure that the environment is safe for women to go to work, making sure that the environment is safe for industries to come, for FDI to flow in. And all of this, I am happy to report, we have been able to do extremely well in the last 2.5 years. You mentioned that people are talking about only Eknath ji and there is no mention of BJP. Well, Eknath ji and BJP are one team. And it's not unusual for us to have another political party lead an alliance in a state. I'll take the example of Bihar, I'll take the example of Nagaland. It's the same in Maharashtra. Eknath ji has been an exceptional leader, and we have seen the state grow leaps and bounds only in the last 2.5 years in his leadership.
Yes, but going forward, NSP's numbers, what's being predicted by the exit polls, if you do see the Mahayuti emerging in the lead, this emergence of Eknath Shinde as a very popular, beloved leader, so to speak, as a chief minister.
Yeah. Yeah.
So going forward,
and I saw that myself on the ground. I was briefly in Mumbai recently. Whoever is better for the state. See, like I said, we are not hung up about who needs to lead the state. It has to be at that point of time, whatever is the correct decision. And I took the examples of Bihar and Nagaland to just endorse what I just said.
Right.
This time, whatever the exit polls are predicting, let me tell you this. We are going to outperform the exit polls. We will comfortably reach and cross the halfway mark. And we are looking forward to another 5 years of a very stable, very progressive Mahayuti Sarkar in Maharashtra.
Right. Seema Malik, in 2024 Lok Sabha elections, the NCP led by Sharad Pawar had the highest strike rate, winning 8 out of 10 seats. And this time there are 41 seats where there is a direct fight between NCP led by SP and of course NCP led by Ajit Pawar. How confident are you, and is this election a lot about legacy and also struggle for existence?
See, ma'am, we are very confident. And why we are confident? We are confident because this election, I think people will vote for the core issues of the Maharashtra. They are not going to vote for Batoge to Katoge. See, if the BJP is so confident that they are going to win, you have seen that cash story also yesterday, the way the cash was distributed and everything. So they are so confident, then why they are using such divisive policies? And see, I am telling you, this election was based on the core issues. It was basically on unemployment, the way the projects are going out from Maharashtra to Gujarat and all these, the unemployment is there. a lot of unemployment and lost a lot of jobs are lost,
Right.
almost 5 lakh or something. And you can see the inflation, how much inflation is there. And this is about the farmers of this thing. The price of soya bean and cotton is, it really matters. It seems so many the farmers are committing suicide, and these are the basic issues. There's so much of crime against women. You have seen. I think Maharashtra is second on this, and the law and order situation, the corruption, the way
Right.
that statue falls. Everybody knows about this, and you see the way the Baba Siddiqui was murdered, and these kinds of the Facebook, all those things, the Facebook live murder and all those
Right, but
things are there. So,
Baba Siddiqui's son is
people
with
are
the
going to
NCP,
vote for
Ajit
this.
Pawar. Let's
And
also get
see,
in
I'm-
Professor Badri Narayan. I'd like to get in here and your comments.
and you see the financial status of the Maharashtra at present.
All right, so
People know the way
it's
they
easy
are
to say
throwing
all these
money,
points
and
sitting
you
in
see-
in studios and talking about it, but it really what is on the ground, what are the people feeling, what appeals to them, that is the key. And Professor Badri Narayan so far has been looking at these exit polls as far as Maharashtra goes. It is giving the Mahayuti another term.
I think, actually, I begin my comment with a disclaimer that
Yes,
it
of
is
course.
still exit poll. It's not a result, so it's very difficult to conceptualize. But I think already we have talked about it, that in Maharashtra there is a one Maharashtra, there is a multiple Maharashtra, and these are regional variations, caste variations, and at every level we see fragmentation within the homogeneous stereotypical community which we have formed. Suppose that Maratha, suppose that OBC, suppose that Dalit. Four Maratha claimants are contesting in the same field for the Maratha voters. So in this situation, it can't be homogenized, it may be fragmented.
Right.
Similarly, 6 major castes of OBC are contesting together in one bloc for their power in the democracy. So that can't be there in OBC. That will be also fragmented. But I already told in your channel in the day, I think it's Vasudha, that in this situation, only homogeneous things is the beneficiary, because it is creating a kind of community which works beyond the caste, beyond the community, and based on this beneficiary consciousness. And if this result is going to be true, it means the beneficiary worked even in Maharashtra, even in Jharkhand, and they work are not they don't speak much. They are very silent, because as I said, as far as they are getting things from the system, from the state,
Right.
from the power, they are becoming silent and going and casting their vote on the booths. They
So,
don't
Archana,
talk.
how does
who
the
is going to
beneficiary
win, who is-
work?
they don't
In
contest.
certain states, but not in 2024 Lok Sabha elections. The beneficiary did not work in Andhra and Telangana with Jagan Mohan Reddy, or for that matter, even KCR. But clearly, are we looking at also creating a social group that is caste agnostic, that goes beyond these expectations of ideology, loyalty, legacy, and you create
politics of this welfareism.
Yeah, and then the pursuit of power in a state like Maharashtra, where resources matter, is that the only thing there?
That's a very interesting question, and it's a very complex one. There are many questions in that one question. Certainly, I mean, what Dr. Narayan said about Jharkhand and Maharashtra is true. That the Maiya Saman Yojana in Jharkhand saw a greater turnout of women in the election. We don't know how they will vote. I think it's pretty not difficult to say which way they will vote. But that a tranche of a lot of money given all at once did make a very big difference in the election. I think hindsight will prove that. Yeah. If you look at the National Family Health Survey, you will find that the percentage of women who are doing mobile banking has gone up substantially. Percentage of National Family Health Survey is an extremely well documented and extremely under leveraged data collection. It gives you a whole lot of insights into the way women control family and control to a lesser degree, but also family finances. And this kind of money, when you combine it, look, you can give free food. How much free food are you going to eat?
Right.
You can increase it, you can keep on increasing the time. There's a limit to it.
Yes.
But if you give people money in their bank accounts and also combine that with free transport, it pushes women into the labor stream, it pushes their employment possibility, and it also gives them that tiny bit of capital that they need in order to start work. So all these things I think are very important and have not been studied enough pan-India. Political parties are beyond the curve and they have understood that this works, but how exactly it works, that's something that needs to be understood thoroughly.
Right. Neerja ji, we were talking about how this is such a critical election for the two regional, well now 4 regional parties, 2 Shiv Senas, 2 NCPs. What would a loss for the MVA mean to, that the grouping there to the, and we've also been talking about the impact this is going to have on the larger national politics as well.
Absolutely.
If you look at the, I can't see it fully, but if you look at the strike rate, Sharad Pawar's NCP has done as well as the Shiv Sena, almost as well as the Congress. If take a broad average of the different exit polls. If it's true, we have to keep qualifying by saying if it is true. So clearly Sharad Pawar is the real NCP. That has been established. That was established earlier also. Right. The strike rate is also very high. As for the Shiv Sena,
38 and maximum 40 seats are being given.
As for the Shiv Sena, that is not the case. Eknath Shinde had a higher strike rate in the Lok Sabha election, and I think again, if this is right, he may well have a higher strike rate in this election also, which means one of the stars of this election and the hero, of course, for the women. This optic of Rakhi's.
Yes.
Right from here to his wrist, that went viral, was a very telling one. And I think also he's a Maratha. Is this the birth of a new Maratha leader in Maharashtra?
But Teja ma'am, do you think that he's also, in some ways crafted his projection very well? Because, he's also, projected himself as completely accessible, somebody who has thrown the doors of Varsha open to people. In some ways, that's completely in contrast to what he's, claiming Uddhav Thackeray is. So, is that also
Also, there is, I think we have to see, there is something, of course, Maharashtra is controlled by many, many families. Every district has a prominent political family. But this thing of, politics of entitlement, regional parties, Congress, BJP also is moving in that direction now of, giving,
as much as they decry
encouraging
dynastic
families,
politics,
members of families. But somebody like Eknath Shinde comes, who's from a humble background, a fire in his belly, Sam, Dam, Dand, Bhe, clawing his way up. You use whatever means you have to, but get to the top and remain there. So that fire in the belly and the will to power, does that exist in the other parties which have had power, wielded power, whether it is, Uddhav Thackeray's or Rahul Gandhi or, all these, there are so many. These are only top names.
Right.
So I think that's a question also that needs to be asked. People say in Jharkhand, the Congress had 30 seats and 41 to JMM. There was criticism from JMM as well as RJD as well as from CPIML people. Did the Congress put its best foot forward?
Only 7 rallies by Rahul Gandhi and slightly more by...
not only Rahul Gandhi, but the
more
entire
rallies in
system.
Wayanad and all that was what was
And
being talked about.
yet you get a sense also, I must say this, that despite the Congress's not up to the mark organization, the people still want the party to revive as a counter to the BJP. Okay. Many places you see that. And anyway, the results will tell us the real picture. But
I just want to take off from that point.
Sure.
I think you are seeing a major reinvention of parties and their base in this election. In Maharashtra, Shiv Sena was seen as an urban party, which basically was a way of arbitrage by the political leaders to reach, various entitlements that the state was offering citizens. The Shiv Sena was a go-between. It used to be, And that's why it was so popular in Mumbai and surrounding areas. Now, the Shiv Sena is present in some campuses, it is present in some rural areas, and it has completely changed and transformed itself as a party. I'm talking about both factions of the Shiv Sena.
I was going to ask you which Shiv Sena.
So now, Shiv Sena is no longer the party that it was thought to be.
Yes.
It has dropped its Maratha for Maharashtra for Marathas image. It has dropped its very strong antipathy and rivalry and a sense of competition against the BJP. And it's become a very different
Yes.
grouping. So, in the same way, many other parties have also tried to transform themselves. Now, in Jharkhand, for instance, the tribal vote has split between Champai Soren and Shibu Soren's family. But that said, Kalpana Soren continues to be a very powerful, iconic image for young women in among the tribal.
She is the crowd puller, is what people say.
Right,
So, and if she says that, you know, this whole marrying Muslims and all, becoming fourth and fifth wives is irrelevant, tribal girls are going to listen to her.
Okay.
So it's a very interesting kind of change.
We have
that
one
is-
more
that is taking
exit poll.
place.
Chanakya Strategies is giving NDA 152 to 160 and Mahavikas Aghadi 130 to 138, and they're giving 6 to 8 to others.
Right, then Bhaskar is giving 125 to 140 to Mahayuti and 135 to 150
Very close.
to
the range
the
is-
MVA. And something that I asked Nirja ma'am yesterday, but I'd like to get your opinion on it. Do you see a possibility or a realm of possibility that the NCPs could come together, the uncle and nephew could ever come together?
I mean, look, the human nature and human ability is, and its resilience is one thing. But I think it's all gone too far now. It's too difficult for the two families now to reconcile and for people to believe that they have reconciled. So frankly, if people don't believe it, then what's the point of reconciling?
Absolutely. So Maharashtra has voted today and Jharkhand also. Exit poll numbers are coming in. We'll keep tracking that for you. Time for a short break. More news and updates on the other side.
Stay with us.
Welcome back. Elections are over in the state of Maharashtra and Jharkhand. Exit polls have started coming in.
Right, and with a lot of health warnings and caveats and, a bucket of salt, we're going to take you through the exit polls and what they're predicting for Maharashtra and for Jharkhand. So there you can see, let's look at the Maharashtra exit polls. Dainik Bhaskar giving the Mahayuti 125 to 140, MVA is getting 135 to 150 there. So majority going that with the Mahayuti, getting the maximum number of seats is what it seems in all the exit polls so far, Vasudha.
Absolutely. And in Jharkhand, it's only Access My India, which is giving India Bloc the edge here. And Dainik Bhaskar, Metri's People's Pulse and Times Now, JVC actually saying that it's the NDA that could be, in a comfortable position to form the government in Jharkhand.
Right. If we take a look at Access My India, it's giving NDA around 25 seats, whereas all the other exit polls are giving for Jharkhand around 37 to 40, 42 to 47, and it's giving the India Bloc 53 seats. So that's the only one that's going the other way. There, it's on your screens there. You can see Access My India. It's the only one that's giving a different picture of Jharkhand compared to what the other exit polls are saying. But as we said, lots of health warnings when it comes to exit polls. They've not proven to be the most reliable in recent years, and the track record one saw in the Haryana elections as well. Well, let's go across to the panelists who are here with us, and we have Dr. Badri Narayan also there with us, and we were talking about what the impact of this election would be on the parties in Maharashtra, on both the Shiv Senas, both the NCPs, and also the impact it's going to have on the larger national picture.
I think if this election goes in the direction suggested by this exit poll, then it will prove that BJP strategies and politics is on right direction. And they are going to prove, this is going to make stronger their claim for future performance in the elections, especially for another for the next parliamentary election too, because the strategy of the Congress and others, which were based on this politics of fear, which was around the constitution, around the reservation, is not working. It worked at some time. And secondly, sympathy votes, which was cultivated by the this Mahavikas Aghadi, has faded now. And thirdly, this election, so it will also establish that Shiv Sena, Eknath Shinde with BJP is the viable alternative, is a claim, is going to prove their claim for the Bala Sahab legacy and Hindutva politics.
Right.
So Hindutva claim is also going to be established by this election if it is going to in this direction. And you know, since these 3 months, they learned a lot. This MBA learned a lot from the last defeat which they got in parliamentary election. So they did many popular policies they brought to appease middle class, to women, to so developmental politics is also going to establish that developmental politics is going to win the elections of the coming days.
Right.
Not this kind of politics of hope and politics of fear. Okay. Politics of hope is generating by this kind of developmental politics, and politics of fear by this kind of danger politics. So this kind of strategy is going to fail. If this election goes in this direction, I think this kind of message will emerge and the claim will be established by this kind of politics.
Charu Pragya, I wanted to ask you, has the BJP cracked actually what really went wrong with 2024 elections, coordination with the RSS, because that seems to be there. And more importantly, the welfare thing, the Prime Minister has been known to have been very critical of freebies, but, in every state the party has followed this template of income support to women, which also in some ways could be qualified as freebies by a section of people. Do you think that's a corrective measure that the BJP has consciously taken after 2024 setback?
So please allow me to correct you. Whatever is being called as a setback for Bharatiya Janata Party is actually not one. We have made the government in 2024 again, and we have done it with a very clear mandate of the people. Those who are still talking about that election actually need to open their eyes and look around them. This is history that was created with the same Prime Minister being sworn in after an election for the 3rd time in a row. In fact, forget India, it has not even happened in any other major democratic country since World War II. So I don't know why 2024 is being called a setback again and again. But moving on from there is a very fine line between freebies and welfare schemes. And India is a welfare state. We need to be looking after our people. We need to make sure that the poorest of the poor are uplifted from the state that they are living in, and we are able to make lives better for them. And I gave an example of that when I listed out the basics that our party is focusing on. 25 crore people out of poverty in just a couple of years. So that's a huge achievement. So we have to also look at the coffers of a state, and that is where the difference lies. When you set out a budget, when you set out to make promises during elections, it cannot be made up in the air. It cannot be made in such a way that, okay, let me promise the sun and the moon and the stars right now, but God forbid if I actually come into power, I have no idea how I'm going to fulfill those promises. And Congress has shown that kind of irresponsible behavior in Karnataka, in Himachal Pradesh, when they were in power in Rajasthan. They believe in continuous borrowing from the centre.
Unfortunately, no one from the Congress has joined,
our
discussion.
They make all kind of tall promises.
All right, Dr. Seema Malik, if these numbers hold what we're seeing from the exit polls, and it is another Mahayuti government, what would it mean for the NCP now? And again, I know you'll say that this is not going to hold, but really a time of reckoning for the NCP under Sharad Pawar.
See, ma'am, these are the exit polls only, so don't believe them so much. We have seen what happened in Haryana, and these are the numbers only, and we don't have to believe on them. And basically, you see the hypocrisy of the I think BJP. They used to talk about the welfare scheme. They have given the word revdiyan, and they used to criticize these things. Now they are playing on them only, I think. Whether it is Ladli Behna Yojana or something. So I think this is very this thing.
Right.
what they talk and what they do. And see, we also know, and you see the financial status of the Maharashtra. They have got a 8.5 lakh crore of the loan, and they have got 2.5 to around 2 crores of fiscal deficit. Their DTP contribution has decreased. It is from 15.1 to 13 point something, and their per capita income of the
So,
the
ma'am, you have
people of
also, at least
Maharashtra has
MBA also promised the same
decreased.
things, actually, enhanced a lot of these promises. If your alliance actually comes to
They
power,
are
there'll be
spending
questions
like
asked of you as well, right? So, I mean, we're completely running out of time. We also have Sanjay Seth, who is a minister from Jharkhand, also an MP from there, MOS Defense, joining us. Thank you, Sanjay ji, हमसे बात करने के लिए. आज झारखंड की वोटिंग खत्म हो गई है. 2019 में बीजेपी को 25 सीटें मिली थी और 2024 लोकसभा चुनाव में पार्टी जो है वो ट्राइबल सीटें जो है सारी हार गई थी. तो इस बार आपको क्यों लगता है कि बीजेपी अच्छा परफॉर्म करेगी झारखंड में?
देखो, आप इस बार परिवर्तन की लहर चल रही है. परिवर्तन इसलिए कि जेएमएम और कांग्रेस ने जो कहते हैं ना, अपने वायदे पे एक भी वायदे पे खरे नहीं उतरे. एक एक वायदे पे इन्होंने मुंह मोड़ लिया. इन्होंने 5 साल पहले मुख्यमंत्री ने कहा था कि मैं पिताजी की कसम, शिबू सोरेन की कसम खा के कहता हूं कि 5 लाख नौकरी दूंगा हर साल, नहीं तो गद्दी पे लात मार दूंगा. ना नौकरी मिली और ना गद्दी पे लात मारा. इन्होंने ही कहा था कि 6-6 हजार रुपए बेरोजगारी भत्ता दूंगा, नहीं दे पाया, राजनीति संन्यास ले लूंगा. न राजनीति संन्यास लिया और न ही बेरोजगारी भत्ता दिया. इन्होंने ही कहा था कि 2-2 हजार रुपए चूल्हा खर्चा सभी झारखंड की बेटियों को देंगे. आज तक 2 रुपए भी नहीं दिया. इन्होंने ही कहा था कि बेटी की शादी में सोने का सिक्का हर बेटी की शादी में देंगे. सोना तो छोड़ दो, पीतल का भी सिक्का नहीं दिया. इतनी वादा खिलाफी वाली सरकार, इतना हसीन सपने, मुंगेरी लाल के हसीन सपने वाली दिखाने वाली सरकार, अब उसका काउंटडाउन नहीं, अब तो विदाई समारोह की डेट तय हो गई है. धूमधाम से 23 तारीख को इनकी विदाई होगी. और जो जो इन्होंने युवाओं के सपने जो चकनाचूर किए, और युवा जो है ना क्रोध में है. क्यों? उनके प्रश्न पत्र 25-25 लाख रुपए में बिके गए.
राइट.
उनको लाठियों से पीटा गया, उनपे मुकदमे दायर किए गए. आज युवा आक्रोश में है.
संजय जी, लेकिन हेमंत सोरेन जो हैं, ट्राइबल नेता हैं, ट्राइबल मुख्यमंत्री हैं, उनका कहना ये है कि उनको जेल कर दिया गया था, वो एक साजिश थी. और ट्राइबल आइडेंटिटी को प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए, साधना कोड को प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए भी जेएमएम के वायदे हैं. आपको नहीं लगता है कि इससे जो है ट्राइबल्स जो है अट्रैक्ट होंगे? और चूंकि एक ट्राइबल नेता को जेल किया था, क्या उसका सिंपैथी नहीं मिलेगा उनको?
अरे भाई, किस सपने में जी रहे हो? कहां जी रहे हो? क्या वही एक ट्राइबल है क्या? हमारे पास ट्राइबल नेताओं की फौज है. और छूट, आप किसी को लूट की छूट नहीं मिल सकती. आप भ्रष्टाचार करोगे, आप बालू को सोना बना दोगे, आप कोयला, आप खनिज, आप सेना की जमीन, आप आदिवासी जमीन लूटोगे, तो क्या आपको छोड़ दीजिए ना? कार्रवाई तो होगी. जो एजेंसियां हैं, चाहे ईडी है, इनकम टैक्स है, सीबीआई, कार्रवाई करेगी. और फिर आप विकास का पैसा, जनता का पैसा, एक पैसा भी अगर आप इतर करोगे तो ये मोदी है. मोदी हिसाब लेगा और जनता को देगा. किसी को लूट की छूट नहीं है. यही तड़पन इनको है कि भाई, अरे हमसे कौन कौन पूछेगा? भाई, हमसे क्यों पूछना चाहिए? अब बताओ, पंकज मिश्रा मुख्यमंत्री के प्रतिनिधि 1500 करोड़ रुपए का खनिज बेच दिया. अभी उनका 2 साल बाद बेल हुआ है. अब बताओ, मुख्यमंत्री के प्रतिनिधि घपला करे. अब इनके एक भ्रष्टाचार की पूजा देश ने देखी थी. पूजा सिंघल एक आईएएस अफसर थी, 20 करोड़ रुपए मिला. क्या छोड़ दिया जाए? भ्रष्टाचार का आलम देखा, इनके मंत्री हैं आलमगीर आलम, उनके 40 करोड़ रुपए उनके पीएस क्या मिला? छोड़ दिया जाए क्या? एक कांग्रेसी सांसद क्या 350 करोड़ रुपया छोड़ दिया जाए क्या? अरे कानून अपना काम करेगा. और जनता की अदालत में हम सब आए हैं. जनता ने परिवर्तन पे मुहर लगा दी है. और 23 तारीख को आप देखना, प्रचंड बहुमत से भारतीय जनता पार्टी के नेतृत्व में सरकार बनेगी।
So that is Ministers Union MOS Sanjay Seth was speaking to us about the party's prospects in the assembly polls that got over today. And Kargi, Jharkhand exit polls are very interesting because Access My India, of course, is saying that India bloc could be forming the government. But of course, Dainik Bhaskar says it's a close fight and no one could be getting majority. PMark also gives majority to India bloc. So clearly that's, and of course, there are other...
Right, and Access My India is the only one going against what the others are predicting and giving the India bloc a majority there. So interesting to see that. They've not released their Maharashtra exit polls, Vasudha, and I think they're holding it for the moment. Who knows, maybe that's also going against what the...
So Jharkhand, 2 of them are saying India, 3 of them NDA, and 1 of them saying that no one is going to get majority. That's what the situation is right
All right, Neerja ji, if your comments on what we saw on the campaign trail, all these slogans, let's go back to Maharashtra of cutenge to cutenge and ek hai to safe hai. What sort of, and the fact that within the BJP, you had leaders from Maharashtra actually saying that this is not something that we endorse here in Maharashtra.
The what jihad that Mr. Devendra Fadnavis talked about, I didn't find the kind of traction, that in
Either
the past.
way, did it really
Yeah, in
matter?
Maharashtra, I didn't find it to be the case, and I may be wrong. And it came towards the latter part of the campaign, in the hope that Hindutva card would work with the Marathas. And another thing is the Dalit. Dalit that went wholesale to the MVA last time, did the Dalit break a little bit this time? Because you see, last time it was the Arakshan khatam ho jayega, the reservations will end, the constitution will be changed, but that has not happened. So I particularly found
But
Dalit
also because they didn't get the numbers, so if it had to happen, or of course the BJP saying it's not going to happen.
Women were very excited by the Ladki Bahan Yojana. Dalit women more than other categories of women that one saw. And people talked about widespread corruption in Maharashtra. Now, an anti-incumbency was there. And still, if despite that the Mahayuti does well, of course there is the organizational heft of the BJP, which is always there. But it makes me wonder that when ideology is given a burial by all parties, and power is the driving force to bring them together, even in an alliance, then why should not the voter say to himself or herself and be that much more transactional? Mujhe jitna ab mil raha hai, why shouldn't I take it? If 7,500 what I'm getting, let me take it. Because I'm not going to get other things else, at other times, or get very little out of it.
Transactional to what level? We've seen the cash, controversy also denied by the BJP, or this Bitcoin cryptocurrency scam as well. And
let me ask Charu Pragya. Charu, batenge to katenge, ek hai to safe hai. Many of these slogans have been called as divisive, discriminatory, exclusionary, communal by the opposition. Section of voters might actually feel that, and they may actually say that this mobilized the minorities more than mobilizing your own voters. Do you see a threat of that happening this time?
I was actually thinking, how is it that these slogans didn't come up in this debate? Let me tell you something. A call for unity can never be looked upon as anything divisive. And the opposition will do well to remember that. It's a very simple thing. India needs to remain united in these troublesome times. And every single person who is a well-wisher of the country is going to agree with the slogan. The only ones who don't agree with the slogan are the ones who look for their personal benefit over that of a community, a society, or a country. And we have seen it time and time again from our childhood till date. वो पुरानी जो कहावतें होती हैं, when you make a fist, it's far stronger than just a single finger. The British used to say, united we stand. How is it that all those statements were never looked upon as divisive, and something as solid and as simple as this is called divisive?
All right, well, that brings us to the end really of our program. And once again, Vasudha, let's take the viewers through the exit polls. And I'd like to thank all the panelists who joined us and analysts. And we'll have to, meet again on the 23rd now to see, what really is on the minds of the voters. But yes, Vasudha, if we go through all these exit polls that have come so far, and again, all the health warnings and a bucket of salt with that. But take a look at those numbers. Dainik Bhaskar, Lok, Shahi, Marathi, they're all giving in Maharashtra the higher number of seats to the Mahayuti and lower to the MVA according to these exit polls.
4 to 5 of them giving it to Mahayuti, but the Jharkhand scene is completely different, with most of them actually saying that it's actually I think both of the, even Stevens, right? Like, there are at least 2 of them saying Jharkhand and 2 of them saying it could be BJP, and 1 of them saying that nobody would get a majority.
That's right. So those are the exit polls, as you can see there, and this is what we do after elections are over. Talk more and analyze all the numbers more, and we'll meet again on the 23rd for counting. Thanks so much for watching. Goodbye from us.